When it comes to anime, we all have a type. After you've watched enough anime, you start to develop what I like to call weeb superpowers. Don't click off the video. I can explain. I'm not talking about realizing certain plot points based on tropes or inspirations from other stories. That skill can be acquired if you watch too much of any piece of media. But for the anime community of today, most fans have a preference. You can't just be an anime fan. You are a type of anime fan. Almost like an anime dating market where people are constantly swiping right and left on shows, creating these sub-communities within the entire fandom. And although I'm on record telling you multiple times to always be willing to watch shows outside of your usual genre or demographic, there's nothing wrong with occasionally going back to your old reliable. Again, when it comes to anime, we all have a type. And the weeb superpowers that I mentioned earlier, and you definitely didn't click off the video after I said it, is being able to notice that type based on a key visual alone. The phenomenon of seeing a character axing around what anime they're from and binging an entire series because of that one character design that captured your eye. You know you've done that. For me, that was The Apothecary Diaries. For the uninitiated, The Apothecary Diaries is a light novel turned anime written by Natsu Hyuga. The series follows Mao Mao, an apothecary daughter, casually kidnapped, emphasis on the casual, into working for the Imperial Palace, where she finds herself using her knowledge as an apothecary to solve several mysteries inside and outside the palace walls. And this is the definition for apothecary, by the way. I'll be the first to admit, I didn't know what this word was before encountering this show. And yeah, don't look at me like that. You didn't know either. Going into this show, I was already a fan, and I had no idea what this show was about. All I had was this key visual of a character I would later know as Mao Mao walking barefooted towards what looked to be an ancient castle. And the first thing I said was, yeah, I'm watching that. And from the trailer and episodes that would follow, I fell more in love with this series. Most say the main appeal of this show is Mao Mao's character, a drug-obsessed, low-key genius apothecary that will continue to shock you because she constantly switches how she interacts with people based on her analysis of the situation. Some say it's the setting, an ancient Chinese palace with beautiful backgrounds, character designs, and customs that will leave you in awe and wanting more. But for me, since the day I first saw the key visual, the main appeal of this show has always been the foreshadowing. Time to take you back to school. Foreshadowing is a term used in writing when an author indicates future events within the story. And The Apothecary Diaries, dare do I say it, has the best foreshadowing in anime. And I don't say that lightly because we have foreshadowing juggernauts like a One Piece and Attack on Titan. And while those two have mystery elements in them, I think The Apothecary Diaries beats them in the foreshadowing category because at its core, this entire series is a mystery. Most of the plot is Mao Mao being apothecary Sherlock Holmes and solving case after case. But the key to writing a good mystery is to make it solvable when you first introduce it while misdirecting the audience. And this show does that by having mystery in mystery, foreshadowing in foreshadowing. You think every single case is its own contained story, and for a while the show feels more episodic than it really is. But like any good penmanship, the more you watch, the more you begin to connect as you go back and see the earlier mysteries were just preparing you for larger plot points to come, showing you how the Imperial Palace works, the rules, the consequences, what you can get away with, and even how. Going into minor spoiler territory for Season 1, I'm not going to reveal how any of the mysteries are solved or the big reveals, just minor little plot points to help me prove my point. But if you haven't seen Season 1 somehow and you want to go in completely blind, here's your chance to click off now. You're still with me, aren't you? I know you love being here. Case 1. The first case our apothecary detective works on involves a mythical curse that no one can seem to do anything about. One that suddenly kills the newborns of the Emperor's two favorite consorts. Already we are thrown into this world as we are introduced to the fact that the Emperor is on his harem protagonist arc with multiple concubines, the lack of knowledge of modern medicine because curse, really? And most importantly, the power struggle between the consorts. A theme that will run through the entire story, foreshadowing how important a concubine's child is to her status within the palace, and how losing a child will not only ruin her mentally, but also politically. A concubine and her child's fate intertwine. I wonder if we'll see that again. But maybe I'm reaching. What about Case 4? Yeah, I'm not going in order. Mao Mao is instructed to take care of Lady Luha, another concubine she's not usually assigned to, and for the first time we explore a different side of the palace. Like I said, I won't go into any detail, but one thing I like to point out in this case is how it explores the loyalty a concubine lady-in-waiting has to her and her status, even if it's to everyone else's detriment. I wonder if that theme will come back in later episodes. But these girls better still watch out for Mao Mao, cause... Damn, how are you feeling? Because she just slapped the shit out of you. Once again, foreshadowing future events as we see different factions within the palace move in their own sense of twisted loyalty. My point in describing these cases is that a political game is being played in and outside the story. Everything is there for a reason, and if you think it's not, give it a few episodes, this show will prove you wrong. There is this ominous air to most of these cases, as certain out-of-place events and deaths that begin to happen in the palace walls are a little too coincidental. Even the characters' relationships have a hint of foreshadowing for future plot points. Like Mao Mao's adopted father, who is oh so nonchalant about how his daughter got kidnapped into working for the Imperial Palace. But there's a reason for that. Or Mao Mao's relationship to brothels, and the fact that the show spends more time focused on the inner workings of said brothels and the concubines, more so than what the Emperor and the kingdom as a whole is doing. Yes, this is slightly for the fan service, but also necessary to the main plot, as if we're watching fate play out, joining the world of the brothels and the world of the palace together. And of course, I have to mention Mao Mao's growing chemistry with the eunuch Jinshi. Another appeal of this show is this one ship. Literally, everywhere you go, you can't escape the fan art, and they're always at the top of the polls. And as one of the biggest hopeless romantics you'll ever meet, I say this with full confidence, let's set sail. Even though their growing relationship may not be the best thing for them, because at the end of the day, Mao Mao is still a servant. Even the romance is foreshadowing future plot points. But Jinshi's character as a whole is shrouded in mystery, as he's supposed to be a pretty boy eunuch, yet he seems to hold a lot of political power. Constantly meeting with the emperor, respected by the concubines, giving orders to the soldiers, and able to acquire nearly anything he wants on his word alone. Leading us and Mao Mao to question, what exactly does Jinshi do? But if you observe his physical features, the way he speaks, dresses, and even how he reacts to certain cases, you may be able to solve the mystery before Mao Mao does. I know I have my theories. And finally, going back to that key visual, even this has foreshadowing in it, as the anime staff seems dedicated to keep the level of foreshadowing in this story as strong as ever. If you look closely, you can see that Mao Mao is barefooted with dirt on her feet, showing us that she comes from a lower class. Flower petals surrounding her, symbolizing her knowledge of nature and natural elements. And if you look at the background, you see that she's not walking up to the gates of the palace, but she's actually in the inner palace. Not only foreshadowing her daily life in the inner palace, but also one girl standing up to this massive imperial force alone. Director Norihiro Naganuma and Akinori Furesaka for Season 2 and their team at OLM, like any good OP and ED, include massive hints of foreshadowing in the visuals, especially this new one for Season 2. If you want my guess, the most important shot in this opening is the one with the hands. Each hand is holding a piece of foreshadowing of what's to come. I have no proof of this yet, but I am so right, I just know it.
揺れなびく風密かに伝えていくよの願いをまとう人よ
Almost every piece of this story has some foreshadowing in it because it's constructing an overall mystery for its audience to solve. Mix that with the subtle writing of the series, and I'm falling for every plot twist the Apothecary Diaries throws at me, and I love it. I think it's safe to say by now that the Apothecary Diaries is one of the best new anime of this current generation. When it comes to new gen, this anime is top 10, and it's not number 10, y'all. But whether you think that's because of the foreshadowing, world building, story, or Mao Mao herself, the Apothecary Diaries is here to stay, and I can't wait for all the mysteries of this inner palace to unfold right before our eyes. Alright, here comes the One Piece fans telling me, nah, One Piece still has better foreshadowing. Hope you liked that video. You should definitely watch more of the videos that are going to appear here on the screen soon. I promise they'll be here. But yeah, comment your thoughts on the Apothecary Diaries below. Would love to hear from you. Like and subscribe. Don't forget those. Those are very important. And also, thank you to our patrons for supporting us, and follow us on socials because we stream. As always, my friends, I'm RJ Lane, and this has been All the Rise.